How y'all doing? Just doing another little video here. I'm going to talk about something that I would say is probably the best way to describe the way that our country has taken some really sharp turns over the last few years. Woke culture, wokeness, all that. Now, they have defined wokeness in essence as being awakened to all of the things that are holding us back as a country, I guess. The systematic racism and the inherent misogyny and the patriarchy, and you know what I mean? There's more than two genders. If you're woke, you know that. So, um, a lot of I would say every issue that I find to be a hotbed issue and that I find to be worth talking about, making my voice heard about, could be put under the umbrella of the woke culture. And so I came across this article. It's basically 20 examples to show what woke is. Now, most of us probably know what woke. We know. We might not be able to articulate it in, a definition suitable for Webster's, but you know. And it's interesting because being woke means two completely different things depending on what side of the political aisle that you're on. Here's the thing. The reality is whether it will ever be universally recognized is that a fact is a fact. The truth is the truth. And so a big part of what I find so mind-blowing about the woke movement is that it is based in such little fact, such little truth. The truth the woke culture is based in is every person's individual truth. Well, that's my truth. You mean that's your truth? My truth is I'm a billionaire, but I'm not. So I don't subscribe to that. I definitely believe that we are all walking an individual experience, and so we might have a perception of things that differ because of our walk. Louis L'Amour said that every man views life according to his own experiences, but that's viewing it. To view it through the lens of your own experience is one thing, but that doesn't make it fact. So, in walking in and living in and speaking your truth might not be fact. So, I believe that whenever you're going to have a good faith conversation, you want to try to establish what you agree on first. So it's difficult to do that though with a lot of the wokest of the woke. You will not get any concessions from them about anything. So I'm going to read these 20 things. I'm going to try not to get triggered and start going off on a tangent on whatever it is that they're going to say. I haven't read this whole list. We're going to look at it together. I read the first few, and I think definitely we've got a good idea of what woke is in different scenarios. So if you don't know woke, you're going to get woke today. The woker, the better if you're on the left. Okay, below are 20 examples of what woke is. Number one, woke is Stanford law students slated to make $200,000 per year upon graduation, screaming at a federal judge and making comments like, he can't find the clit. That sounds like his personal business. That's on a sidebar. But anyway, Okay, so entitlement, I think that's a great word that we can sum up woke culture. We can look at things that, when viewed through the lens of wokeness, are what these are: entitlement. But that's one of the big words that is a foundational, a building block for the woke culture: entitlement. Number two, woke is BLM rioters burning cities and looting private businesses as a form of peaceful protest. I do remember the summer of peaceful protest. So, listen. That comes from the second most important foundation of the woke movement, and that's victimhood. You got to be a victim. You got to be oppressed. You got to be in a marginalized group. The more boxes you check, the woker you are by default. There's a lot of individuals that as soon as they get into the game, they already done beat a level 10 woke boss just because of what they identify as. I think that's why you watch some of these TikToks or whatever. I don't know if you. I watch them because I'm always looking for good content. But individuals will, like, I identify as queer, pansexual, anti-sexual, undersexual, oversexual. A lot of shit. And I think that, in their mind, adds to their credibility because they're like hitting every marginalized group. The Biden administration is the perfect picture of a woke government, of a woke organization. They pride themselves on their diversity. That Haitian lady, who is a lesbian, by the way, the first black Haitian under 5'10" lesbian press secretary. So before you go to talking shit, keep that in mind. Diversity, baby. It doesn't matter if she can't answer a question. It doesn't matter that she says the stupidest shit. They don't even send her out there to lie good. All press secretaries tell lies or distort the truth or thwart off questions. But they didn't even give her any resume to work with. I guess she checks enough boxes that it doesn't matter what the fuck she says because she's never going to get fact checked. She's never going to get called out unless it's Peter Doocy. Anyway, I told you I wasn't going to go off on a tangent. So, number 3, woke is repurposing Nazi rhetoric for left-wing anti-Semitism and calling it activism. That's deep. That's deep because it happens. I'm not going to get far. I'm not going to get into that one. All I will say is that it's interesting that the woke movement has a set of beliefs. Their ideology will tell you that they are for progress. They're activists. But really, they're just recycling a lot of bad stuff that started out in the same manner. Woke is a professor walking out of a lecture in a neck brace because students at a prestigious university can't handle viewpoint diversity. That's one thing I notice a lot. And it happens on college campuses in these classrooms, and there'll be some sort of a dialogue, and then there'll be somebody with green hair just screaming, "Ah!" College. Because that's their argument. It's a quick breakdown. Typically, it'll be some sort of a confrontation that most of us CSWs. Now, if you don't know what a CSW is, I don't know anywhere else, but I know here, the Vordox Experiment, this channel, and all of its partnering social media, we are coining the phrase CSW. And that is in a direct opposition to the SJW, the social justice warrior. Over here, we are the common sense warriors. Because that's probably the craziest thing about this, other than what it is that is going on. The fact that common sense will just destroy a lot of these new woke ideologies. Common sense. But it's not being applied here. That's not woke. Number 5. Woke is GoFundMe arbitrarily shutting down a fundraiser by working class Canadian truckers, many of whom were ethnic minorities. So they check some boxes now. Ethnic minorities, that's a check. Truckers, back when COVID was going on, truckers would have got a free pass on anything. But I do remember they were shitting on those Canadian truckers. Number 6, woke.
Power off.
Oh, it's my speaker. Woke is, Where's my speaker? Woke is the American Federation of Teachers passing a BLM resolution while doing sorry little to address the record low reading and math scores. Now, there are certain buzzwords that both sides will use to call the others out on this or that. And both sides are guilty of it. But one of the biggest, and this is another very important aspect of woke culture, and that's virtue signaling. That's necessary. You have to stand with, you have to affirm, you have to, if you're an ally of the trans community and your trans friend is walking down campus and is having a conversation and somebody asks them a question, trying to get some sort of clarity on what their gender is, or, hey, what the fuck does that mean? Or, I've never heard of that. Or the virtue signaler is the straight, white, liberal female who is the trans friend come running in, cussing this person out for being transphobic. Big deal. Big deal. Because the defense of their views only has 3 levels. The initial conversation or confrontation in most cases, because typically they keep it very confrontational. The next phase is feigned utter disbelief that you would say what you said, think what you think, and because it is so obvious that what you said is so abhorrent, is so bad, you've automatically become one of the transphobe, the ism, the bullshit. And once you're there, it's broken down. If for whatever reason the interaction has not ceased completely, that is when the scream will start. Some variation of the scream, whether it's screaming cuss words or vile hatred or whatever. Those are the 3 levels of understanding for most of the wokest of woke. Number 7. Woke is labeling successful people who happen to be minorities as model minorities. I'm not sure what that means, so I'm just going to go right along to number 8. Woke is immigrating to the richest, most prosperous country in the free world, getting elected to Congress, and believing the U.S. incalculates a system of oppression. Oman Amar, is that her name? The one that married her brother, allegedly. I can't look at things from the perspective of an immigrant. I was born and raised in America. Thank you, God, for that. So I don't know the plight of an immigrant. But I am a human, and I do understand hardship, and I understand struggle, and I understand oppression. I understand that there are things much more difficult, and things can always be more difficult. And a lot of the things that refugees and immigrants or people that are fleeing their country for whatever, that's a tough, tough walk. But I can't fathom a situation to where I come to America, I get here with my hands out. Please help me. My country did this, this, and that. I'm a good person. I want to contribute to your society. Please give me a chance. Then you know what? Not only will we give you a chance, hang out for a while, and we'll get you elected into a nice, powerful seat of government. And all this happens. This refugee, this whatever, she gets elected to be a representative of the citizens of this country in her area, and takes every opportunity to shit on America. I think Somalia is still there. Crazy. Anyway, where we at? Number 10. No, number 9. Woke is this one here is great. Woke is labeling written language and math as white supremacy. Everything's rooted in racism. You need to understand that if you are going to reach the wokiest levels, you have to be able to word salad your way back to racism on any. I don't give a fuck if you get bit by a mosquito. You better figure out how that goes back to racism, because it does. It does. Number 10. Woke is being from a leafy Connecticut suburb and screaming at your Yale facility because you think you are oppressed. I'm not sure about that situation. That's pretty standard. Entitlement comes back to that. A quick sidebar here. This article was done by the International Women's Forum. So I want to be completely transparent. I get my information from different places. This is a conservative nonprofit organization that is set up to help women retain their they're big advocates for Title IX, but they are a conservative group. So I'm going to leave a link to their website. I'm also going to leave a link to their wiki if you want to get a little history on them. I know that, in my opinion, they are working hard to protect one of the most important things that right now is not being protected, and that's women's spaces. I'm not trying to use buzzwords. Women in the locker rooms, high school girls in locker rooms are being blindsided, walking around naked, turning the corner, and seeing some dude with a dick looking at them. If that's not violating a woman's space, I don't know what is. And that's just one example. So they are fighting hard on a lot of fronts to keep women's spaces. So for that reason alone, if that's an important issue to you, go check them out. I'll have their links in the description. Number 11. Woke is physically assaulting and stealing from an elderly bakery owner in a college town and then tarring him as a racist. That's woke 101. You know, one of the first things you're going to learn when you start on your path to wokeness, and I mean this is when you are just coming out of your slumber, you open your eyes, you look around trying to get your bearings, and the woke mob is going to begin indoctrinating you right then. You're not even going to get all the way out of bed before you realize that your trump card on any situation, racism. Racism. Keep that in mind. Because if you don't, you're just a racist. See what I mean? Number 12. Woke is calling 69 million Americans racist because you disagree with them. Those would be obviously the Trump supporters. That's a sad state of affairs right there. Like, divisiveness in this country, especially on a political front, is terrible. I don't know how to get back from that. Trump is a little different because their hatred for Trump is more than just political. Like, he transcends their truths problems. They have their truths. And as long as everything works in their truth, they're cool. When you get powerful people who have to work outside of their truth, then you get all that shit. Most of which is turning out to be bullshit. Crazy. I'm going to do some videos on that. About that, all that nonsense the FBI did to Trump that he was saying the whole time. Crazy. Number 13. Woke is sending your kids to private schools but denying other economically disadvantaged kids the same opportunity. I think they're talking about school choice here. I don't have a lot of information on that, so I'll take them at their word. Sounds racist, though. I mean, just don't... Okay, I appreciate y'all listening, man, because I like talking. Number 15. No, 14. Woke is conflating all people are created equal with everyone being the same and forcing upon people the same outcomes. A big difference of opinion that really separates the mindsets of these two divisive groups of people. One group believes in equality of opportunity, which is what our Constitution, which is what our program offers, I believe. But as you grow in wokeness, you will come to realize that equality of opportunity is bullshit. We want equality of outcome. Now that's a huge difference, especially if you don't do shit. Anyway, number 15. Woke is labeling people based on fixed traits like sex or skin color. I can't even fathom telling people that I am going to nominate this type of person because of their gender or their sexual orientation or the color of their skin, and then do that. We have a new Supreme Court justice appointed to the highest court of the land because of her gender and because of her race. I'm sure she was qualified. There's a lot of people qualified. Was she the most qualified? Probably not. She couldn't even give you a definition of a woman. She's not a biologist. She's not a CSW either. Remember, common sense warrior. I'm going to start pounding that into y'all's heads. Because if you're listening to me on a regular basis, you're a common sense warrior. You wouldn't be able to handle the level of anti-wokeness that you're going to get from here if you were not either right on the fence of becoming a common sense warrior or you already were one, are one. Number 17. Number 16. Woke is illegally giving minor children puberty blockers. I'm going to leave that alone because I'm taking a deep dive. Check out some of my other videos. I agree. Under no circumstances should that be okay. I could give you the basic spiel, but we're already 24 minutes in, and it's just common sense shit. So, number 17. Woke is mandatory corporate struggle sessions during which employees are castigated for being white, male, or worse yet, both. If you watch my other videos, you know that the number one human subgroup on the endangered species list, the straight white male. I think that's a lot of reason that white dudes are so quick to go transgender or to go whatever. You know what I mean? Number 18. Woke is lowering standards in the United States military, one of our last mediocrities in the name of equality. Maybe they're talking about the difference for women and men. And boy, I tell you what, that was that's an issue. I don't agree with that at all. I don't care if you think it's misogynistic, whatever. This country is as strong as it is primarily because don't nobody want to fuck with us. And that's that way because our military is the greatest standing professional military on earth. And you don't maintain that level of superiority by lowering your admission standards. Coming in, that's the base of the pyramid. If you weaken that, everything else up top. But I don't think that's our main issue now. I think in 20 years, 30 years, we might not have enough human beings to have a standing army. Because people are not enlisting. We're being taught as children now, not me, but not my kids, but kids are being taught that America's terrible. It's racist. This country sucks. I mean, this is what's pounded in kids' heads. There's no patriotism anymore. Number 19. Woke is disdain for the American working class, most especially those in the Midwest and the South. I mean, that is what it is. Number 20. Woke is denying that these examples are woke because the truth will dispose you from your self-appointed bully pulpit. I've made a conscious decision to utilize my time to dig into these issues rather than something else because I feel like it's that important to speak up and be a voice of reason. But it's a dilemma that I want to close with. The dilemma is that this is all common sense shit. And if you're listening to me, you're basically in the echo chamber. The biggest issue I find is how are we going to get people to stop being woke? We need some sort of a tranquilizer dart. I'm going to think about that. I appreciate y'all watching. We're running 28 minutes, but I think it went pretty good. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications. And leave a comment, because the comments help. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time.